Tugas mereka fashion bukan sahaja mempersembahkan hasil rekaan yang mampu mengubah penampilan, tetapi memainkan peranan penting dalam mengubah penggayaan industri fashion tempatan. Mereka fashion juga memikul tanggungjawab yang penting dalam mendidik masyarakat untuk tampil dengan kesesuaian budaya, agama ataupun kelangsungan budaya dan adat tradisional sesebuah kaum. Salam sejahtera. Saya Tony Yusof, pengacara anda dalam Dunia Insan Kreatif, sebuah rancangan temu bual mingguan mengenai industri kreatif yang disiarkan secara eksklusif hanya di TVS. Minggu ini saya akan bawa anda menerokai salah satu cabang budaya Sarawak yang sering menjadi tarikan, baik kepada masyarakat tempatan maupun di luar negara. Dunia fashion Sarawak sebenarnya bukanlah sesuatu yang baru. Bahkan, kita sudah pun mempunyai nama besar yang telah berjaya menembusi pasaran luar. Persoalannya, adakah mereka fashion Sarawak, tradisional dan contemporary, mampu terus bertahan dengan cabaran masa kini dan sekaligus mengangkat kehidupan masyarakat tempatan? Kita akan mengupas isu ini sambil berkenalan dengan dua nama besar fashion yang berasal dari bumi Kenyalang. Jangan ke mana-mana. Teruskan bersama kami dalam Dunia Insan Kreatif. Sebentar lagi kita akan bersama-sama seorang mereka fashion yang gigih memelihara legasi seni dan kraf Borneo serta mengangkat masyarakat Penan. Permulaan kerjaya beliau sebenarnya sangat berlainan daripada apa yang dilakukan sekarang. Tetapi kita akan bincangkan ini dengan lebih lanjutnya sebentar lagi. Beliau sedang berada di Kuching, Sarawak, jadi sudah tentu sesi temu bual kita sekarang dilakukan secara Zoom. Bersama kita dalam Dunia Insan Kreatif, Miss Jacqueline Fong. How are you, Jacqueline?
I'm good, thank you, Tony. How are you?
I'm good. How are you keeping during this pandemic?
We are all very good and in good spirits here in Kuching because we are not under lockdown.
Lucky
so
you.
We get to do a lot of things.
I'm so jealous. Okay, Jacqueline, now, for the sake of our audience here, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and then how you started off with this? Because I understand you did something completely different for years before you got into the business you're in now.
I graduated with a law degree. So I didn't do very well in law school. So I thought, with a law degree, what can I do? And at that time, I really, really loved money, So
I love the honesty.
It was yeah. So it was only natural that I would choose banking as a career.
Right.
I worked in two banks over 18 years, and I was involved in investment banking. So basically doing bonds and IPOs, and yeah, for 18 years it was a very good career. Mm-hmm. A lot of things happened in the financial markets in Malaysia. There was a lot of growth and a lot of sexy deals, and it was really enjoyable. Before I left the bank, about 3 or 4 years before I left the bank, I invested in Tanoti. It's just a small workshop. We thought, okay, I have enough financial resources to invest in this weaving workshop. So much that I was very compelled to abandon my career and start building this business. So 3 years after starting Tanoti, I had to quit. Very unfortunate.
Okay, well, Tanoti crafts, right? Could you tell us the meaning of Tanoti?
Tanoti is a Sanskrit word for weave or entwine. And we used the word Tanoti because we wanted to pay homage to people in India who actually brought the brocade to the Malay archipelago. And we are weaving songket now because it's a derivation of an Indian technique of weaving, which is called jamdani. And that's why we have an incredible culture of textiles, of woven textiles, because of India.
Wow, that's quite a tribute. So how did you
Yes.
how did you come about setting up Tanoti in Kuching?
I was in a shopping mall in Kuching and I bumped into an ex-schoolmate, and she told me about this workshop of weavers. And I was very interested. I went to have a look at it. And that workshop at that time was under the foundation of the Raja Permaisuri Agong.
Mm-hmm.
So it was under the Yayasan Tuanku Nur Zahira. And the weavers were very, very well trained. Their skills are possibly the best in Malaysia. But 2 months or 3 months after I visited the workshop, I realized, or I was told that the foundation could no longer support this workshop. And I was having a good job. I thought, I have spare cash. Why don't we do this? So in March, the decision was made. In April, the weavers got their last paycheck with the foundation. And 1st of May 2012, we took over this workshop of weavers.
Tanoti's weaving community is made up of 18 Sarawakian ladies working to ensure the preservation of the craft of songket weaving. How are you and your team adapting to the new normal, and how are you holding up in the amidst this pandemic?
We during the MCO about a year in March, 11 months ago, when MCO kicked in, there was an appeal by the hospital for PPE, and we decided that we will take on the PPE initiative and supply PPE to the hospitals on a donation basis. So we have been doing PPE donations for Sarawak and Sabah frontliners.
Mm-hmm.
Our weavers not only weave, they also have to now produce PPE. We decided to innovate. We use our workshop as a lab. That's why we've decided to come up with more interesting songket items, like leather. Yeah.
Leather.
We are debuting our leather collection in International Digital Fashion Week. It's New York Fashion Week's online version.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Amazing.
So that's what we do in COVID. We try to be cool.
Well, not only have you guys managed to adjust very well during the pandemic, you're not just surviving, you are in fact supporting the system, the healthcare system. You're giving it invaluable support.
If you know that there is a shortage in healthcare facilities, the only thing that you can do is to help them, and that's what we did.
Kita kembali selepas ini.
Yeah.
So you are in the forefront of preserving Penang crafts and arts and pushing the artists further. But how are the acceptance for the crafts locally and internationally even?
One thing about Penans is that they live in the jungle, and very few people live in the jungle. And because you live in the jungle, you are able to access everything from the jungle, which we have no access to, So like rattan. Rattan is a very, very strong fiber. The rattan has to be in the jungle for 15 to 20 years before you are able to harvest it. Piece of rattan to anyone has so much meaning and so much stories and so much soul that you can't get in an article of clothing in a store, like a fast fashion store. You can't get it from a manufactured item, but you can get it from a rattan, because you know that someone was hardworking enough to go to the jungle with a parang, cut 200 batang rattan, like 200 strips of rattan, process it and make you a mat or make you a bag. So it's very personal, and a lot of people like it. The fact that they can feel the jungle in their home or in their accessories, in their clothes. So Penans actually have something that a lot of people don't. The fact that they live in the jungle. and the fact that we don't.
So, okay, one of the biggest challenges that any handicrafted industry faces would be, automation with machines, right? Now, with advanced technology, there's always a constant need for faster production. Traditional crafts can easily be replicated by machines, and the cost of production is much lower. How do you stay above and overcome this?
We don't play in their market. We don't play in the market of fast fashion.
Right.
Yeah. We navigate the waters of sustainable fashion, eco fashion, slow fashion.
Mm-hmm.
We do not need to we do not need to negotiate ourselves in a world of fast fashion.
So okay, before we wrap this up, what are your hopes for our traditional fashion industry in the future?
We want our fashion industry to go all over the world. We want our patterns to go all over the world, not because, obviously we want to earn money, but because we want to create an awareness of the beauty of Malaysia. We've got so many cultures, and our cultures are so rich.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we use our culture and fashion as a form or an agent to tell the world who we are and what we're about? So that's our objective, That's really our objective.
Wow. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Yeah. That was very good. Very enjoyable session with you. I've been to your workshop, your Tanoti Crafts workshop before. I would love to pop by again next as soon as I can go back to Kuching. I would like to have a look at your leather stuff. It's I find it very, very intriguing. Yeah.
Yeah, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. We'll make you something.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you,
we'll make
Jacqueline.
You something shocking.
I'm looking forward. Surprise me. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you very much. Okay. Itu dia Jacqueline Fong dari Kuching, Sarawak dengan Tanoti Crafts. Tetamu kedua kita hari ini adalah seorang pereka fashion dari Sarawak juga. Tidak lain dan tidak bukan, ladies and gentlemen, the very flamboyant Yacub from Yacutha. How are you, Yacub?
I'm very well indeed, Alhamdulillah. And you yourself?
Good? I'm very good, thank you. Could you share with us, for the benefit of our audience, a little bit about your background, maybe, where you were born and how you ended up being a fashion,
right.
a fashion centerfold?
When I started my career as a young person, I started as a makeup artist, and then I became a hairstylist, and then I became a dancer, and then in the 90s, the Roslan Artist Production invited me to be Sheila Majid personal makeup artist, and then I worked in commercials and dramas and films. And in 2013, after all the traveling, I decided to stay in London for about 18 years. And then by 2017, I decided to come back and then build my fashion label called Yacutha.
How did you start Yacutha? How did you come to that?
After I came back from London, I decided to base in Kuching. It's about high time for me to come back. So I was doing fashion styling freelance in London, in some part of in Tokyo, in Paris, and New York. So fashion is always surrounded around me. So to me, I said to myself, why don't I just do fashion just to keep me busy, actually? So I decided to launch my label, Yacutha, in 2017. And then I entered the Borneo Fashion Week. And then they give me an award for the emerging designers. And then from there, along the way, I built the branding until now.
What are some of the key highlights that you've observed happening outside that can be adapted in Sarawak's fashion scene?
You know what, Tony? I think I can't compare the fashion scene for instance, in London and in our part of the country, because every part of the country have different kind of fashion scene.
Yeah.
Like me, I can only bring back the experience that I'm exposed there. Whenever it's London, it's different. London is very eclectic, right? People wear different clothes according to the season. And then when you are there, you learn something that is new. But then again, you have to stay to your own roots. You have to remember that you have to keep that roots of yours, because it's very, very priceless. But you learn when you're there, you learn something that we don't have it here.
Kita kembali selepas ini. In your opinion, do we have what it takes to bring our local clothing patterns or patterns outside of Malaysia, like beyond, and be successful with it?
We have a very strong culture, as you know, you're from Sarawak yourself. We have very strong culture and very authentic. Nothing can buy our culture in any way, right? It is always beautiful by itself. Fashion is business now. There's no such thing as like, oh my God, the show is nice, and then the show's ended and you clap and then it doesn't lead anywhere. It doesn't work like that now. Fashion now that's why we have Fashion Week. Fashion is about business. You can make fashion as business. We Sarawak, the fabrics that we have here, we can make it global, we can sell it, but we have to have the right technique, the right people, the right wear, the right branding, the proper wear. It's not just a hit and run kind of thing. It's not just, oh my God, I'm going to do this, and then it's just full stop. It doesn't lead you anywhere. It got to be the right people, the right manufacturers, the right people who has been exposed in the global industry of fashion, who knows, okay, this works there, this doesn't work there, this fabric works there, this fabric doesn't work there. You have to have this kind of people around to do it. Then it will be, we can make it. We have beautiful culture here. Anything. It's just that sometimes, from my personal point of view, we are very secretive. We don't want to be too modernized. But then again, we have to follow what happened to the world now. If you want to be international, you got to follow the trend. As I told you again, but you keep to your roots.
So it's like, if you want to bring the fashion out, you have to understand the business of it, right?
Yes.
You have to understand the business, so you have to respect the business of it.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And also you have to have a big budget, for instance.
Of course.
At the end of the day, Tony, it's all about money, right? If you don't have a big budget, creativity, when it comes to creativity, right? Okay, for example, if I want to do that, okay, and then they don't have a budget, then I have to reduce my creativity because of the budget. It doesn't work like that.
So speaking of budget, do we have the proper infrastructure back home in Sarawak to help people pursue their interest in fashion, their artistry in fashion? Do we have bodies that help carrying our fashion aspirations forward?
Yeah. To my point of view, there's not enough international media coverage, Tony.
Right.
We just do the show in Kuching. It's just, of course you have the local media, but the local media only bring it like a cocoon, like only in Sarawak itself. To me, you need to be out. It's high time to be out. That's why the government here have to understand that the budget are very important if you want to do something global, international, not just here. So you need to have international coverage and media. To have international coverage and media, it costs money, right?
Yes.
But then again, the execution and the feedback and the result is out there.
Do you think it will get better in the near future?
Hopefully, because now, if I want to say this, it's gonna be sounds like I'm not against it, but then again, if you ask me a question, I answer you honestly. So now our fashion industry in Kuching doesn't work together. Okay, there's no like I will help you. I will do that for you. It's all about competition, like each other. It's like that's how I see it.
Why is that?
Because everybody wants to be their vision is just to make a name, but not making it as a business and introduce yourself as a designer. But it's just, for instance, macam short sendiri lah.
Right.
It's not a nice word to say, but that's in the bigger picture, it's like that. To me, that's it. It doesn't have that relationship between designers. But to me, I need to promote the young, talented designers in Kuching. We have a lot. So we have a school of fashion here. We have Lingkok Wing. We have Unimars. So this is the student that need the platform. But some people who have the platform doesn't give it to them. If you can help the young designers that needs it, you help them. Not it's always the same people.
So there's still a lot of space for improvement of the ecosystem in Sarawak then, the fashion ecosystem.
It's quite sad, Tony, because it's not supposed to be like that.
How can we educate consumers to be mindful of their buying power in choosing to buy a piece of garment?
But like for me, that's why you as a designer, you have to be creative, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, you have to work hard to make sure that, you know what, my design doesn't sell on consumer. If they want to get my design, they have to get my ideas. They can copy, but they cannot get the flavor, the real things. So as a designer, you need to work out somewhere there. You have to be creative to make your product unique, global, wearable, affordable. Then you can do it. Then you don't have to worry about the consumer or the selling. You don't really care because you have done your branding in such a way.
If you're fabulous enough, nobody will ignore you. Right?
I'm not in a position of fabulous. I'm just as a told you, I enjoy fashion, Tony.
Okay, so before we wrap this up, what are your hopes? What are your hopes for the Sarawak fashion industry in the future? What do you wish to see?
I hope that Sarawak fashion people will concentrate fashion as business. Do fashion as business now. No more like as I told you, shoot sendiri and then do that. It doesn't bring you anywhere. Do fashion as a business now.
I completely agree with you. I mean, especially when you're doing, you're involved in the creative industry. It's so easy to forego the business aspect of it, but you have to be prudent. So because the business aspect will make sure that your product goes out there. Well, thank you very much for this. It's been great. Thank you so much, Yacub.
And thank you so much for inviting me, Tony.
Thank you so much for being on board.
I wish you the best of luck, the best of health, and be as charming as ever.
Thank you. Same to you. All the best to Yacutha. I'll be visiting your gallery soon. Thank you. Wah. Itu dia Yacub daripada Yacutha yang telah berkongsi dengan kita pengalaman beliau yang sangat-sangat lumayan berkenaan dengan fashion industry di Sarawak. Terima kasih kerana menonton. Ribuan terima kasih kepada tetamu kami, Jacqueline Fong dari Tanoti Crafts dan Yacub Taha, pengasas Yacutha, kerana sudi meluangkan masa untuk ditemu ramah bagi rancangan ini. Terima kasih juga kepada penaja lokasi kami, Maverick Studios di Petaling Jaya. Jangan lupa bersama kami pada minggu hadapan di hari dan waktu yang sama kerana ada banyak lagi segmen menarik menanti anda. Saya Tony Yusof. Kita jumpa lagi dalam Dunia Insan Kreatif.